Welcome back to the Crochet Corrado Sauce, my friends at yarnspirations.com. Today we're going to do the top hat. Could be styled for Halloween, could be styled for anything. And in fact, we're doing this on a crochet cruise in 2025 as a tea party, and we're asking crocheters on that cruise to make a top hat and style it in any way that they would like to, whether they're going to add extra things. The purpose of today's tutorial is just to show you the base. If you'd like to add the band, and you can see how it's done here. It's chain 9, 1 single crochet, second chain with the hook, and then you just continue to go back and forth single crocheting until the band fits, and then sew it around, and then there's flowers you can do. So you can find other tutorials available for flowers here on the channel if you'd like to do that. In my case, I am styling this in the sense of a pirate's hat for my own self. Now on camera, I really wanted to do a different color other than the orange, but other colors on camera does not film very well, like red. So I'm going to stick with the pumpkin. You need 2 balls of Red Heart Super Saver in order to make this work. Now, the reason why I'm saying Super Saver, not only because I'm sponsored, but you need a stiff yarn. So you do need that yarn that feels tough, because the hat will not stand on its own if the yarn is too soft. So you are looking for a value yarn, whether it's Cairn 1 pound as well would be a great example of something that you can switch to. We are going to be using a continuous round with this, which means that we're going to use a spare piece of yarn to mark away as we're going around, because we're not going to have a slip stitch, so you don't have an ugly slip stitch in here. So we're going to start off with the top, work our way down, and you'll see how it will naturally bowl out like this because of the design. And overall, it's a fun hat to be able to wear and also crochet, of course. Let's begin. You will use 2 strands together at the same time. So I got 2 balls of Red Heart Super Saver off camera, so I'm just going to be using, because you need 2 balls of it anyway, and you put it together and pretend that it's one, so it's just one continuous strand but put together, so it has the strength to be able to wear it like the model. Let's begin, and you'll use a 5.5mm size eye crochet hook in order to play. So let's begin. We're going to start off with a slip knot. So you use the 2 strands together as if it's 1 strand, and you need to chain a total of 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and slip stitch to the beginning chain to form the center ring. So yarn over, pull through, and you'll be working with the center ring in round number 1. Round number 1, you're going to start off, and you are going to immediately just put 8 single crochets into the center ring. When you go into the center ring, we don't chain 1 first, because we're going to do a continuous round. Lay down the straggler around the ring to capture it underneath, and let's do 8. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, because we're doing a continuous round, I want you, if you went over the straggler, which I hope you did, just trim that, get that out of your way. Bada boom, bada bing. You are going to pull up a loop and insert your hook underneath that stitch, and grab that extra strand and pull it under. And this will indicate every time you're finishing a round, move the stitch marker up so that you can see where it is. So when you come back around, you'll know exactly when you're at the end of a round. And we're going to begin round number 2 next. Number 2 is the most critical round of them all to make sure that you got your counts started, because it's the first time you're doing a continuous. So what you have now is 8. So you want to count back to the 8th one. So even as an experienced crocheter, 40 years in, I'm still counting back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the 8th one back is the start. And what I want you to do is count it this way, just to make sure it's done right. So you're going to put in a single crochet the first one, and you're putting 2 into each of them. So say this is 1, and then put another one in, and say to yourself 1. Go into the next one. This is number 2, and say 2 once more and put it in. Do number 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 5, 6, and 6, 7, 7, and this one should be your 8th because it was marked, and 8, and 8. So what I'm going to have you do every time you get the last stitch in, I'm not going to come back and stop and show you every time. I want you to move the stitch marker up. So just pull it through like this. If you have to frog it, you can see where it was before in case you have to go backward. So this is why this is longer. So we're going to drag that up as we go. And we're now moving to round number 3. For simplicity, I'm going to give you the repeat instruction and you're going to do it around. So you're going to single crochet the first one and then 2 single crochets into the next. Okay, that's your repeat going around. So single crochet the next one and then 2 into the next. Please do this all the way around for round number 3. And make sure you move up your stitch marker as well. Coming all the way back around, I put in my stitch marker. Make sure that when you pull your hook out to be able to place this, that you return the stitch right to the regular tension so that you don't end up with a line of one stitch that looks like it's fatter than the rest or looser. Moving on to number 4, here's the repeat. You're going to put the first 2 as 1 single crochet by itself and then 2 into the next. 1 and 2. Now I didn't say this in the beginning, but because you started off with 8 single crochets, there's 8 pieces of pie around this hat. So then the repeat then is 1 to the next 2 and then 2 into the next one. And you'll do that all the way around. So if you know that there's 8 pieces of pie, it sometimes might be easier for your mind. Who knows? You can let me know in the comments. Move along now, and I'll see you at the beginning of number 5. Moving on to number 5, another tip for you, because we're doing the growth, the last one usually always has 2 into the same one. So if you end up in the repeat and the last one doesn't have 2 and you're supposed to have an increase, then you know something is wrong. Here you might have missed something. Round number 5 is going to be single crochet the first 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then 2 into the next one. So 1 and 2. So the repeat is 1 into the next 3. So 1, 2, 3, and 2 into the next. Please do this all the way around for round number 5. Round number 6, there's no growth. We're going to let it percolate just for 1 round and apply 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around for round number 6. Round number 7 is another increasing round. So the next 4 in a row will be singles. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 into the next. Okay, so the next 4 are by itself. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 into the next. Please do this around for round number 7. Number 8, we're going to percolate again, so 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around. Please do that, and I'll see you at the end of the round. Round number 9, single crochet the first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 2 into the next. And so do that again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 2 into the next. Please do this all the way around for round number 9. Number 10 will be a growth round. The first 6 are by themselves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 2 into the next. Okay, so the repeat 6 by itself and then 2 into the next, and do that around for round number 10. Round number 11 is a percolation round, so just 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around for number 11. Round number 12 will be the largest that will ever be on the top portion of your hat until you get to the brim. So in this particular one, it's going to be 7 in a row and then 2 into the next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then 2 into the next. Okay, so 7 in a row, 2 into the next. If you need stitch counts, by the way, they're already on the pattern if you need that. I'll be right back. 13 to 16, which is a total of 4 rows, are going to just be a single crochet around. You're noticing that it's kind of bowling up towards you, which is great, but the next 4 rounds is going to cause this to start going over in the opposite direction, which is then the top portion of the hat kind of falling over the top. So just single crochet around for the next 4 rounds, and I'll see you at the beginning of round number 17 in a moment. At the beginning of round number 17, you'll notice that it bowled in. Let me just zoom you out, see my messy desk today. And so it bowled out like this. And so if you push down the center, you're gonna see the top of the portion of the hat, just like that. So that's pretty cool, right? So round number 17, I am going to show you how to do a decrease with amigurumi concept so that you don't end up with a really ugly line. So when you go to do this, it's going to be single crochet in the next 7, so let's do that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So if you do a single crochet 2 together over the next 2 and you do it regular style, you end up with a line that will be really quite obvious if you're a crocheter and you see that. So the way to hide it is that if you scoop up just the front loop only, okay, so remember everything is in 2 strands, so grab the front loop only, so ignore the back one, and loop it around and capture the very next one after that, the front loop only. Then yarn over, pull through both. And what this is going to do is going to pull and then pull through 2, and then it's going to pull the 2 together, but it will be invisible. So single crochet the next 7 and then 2 together all the way around. Rounds number 18 and 19, just 2 rounds, are 1 single crochet each. So the decrease that we just did in the last round, this will help it settle down a little bit and pull it in a little bit tighter by these 2 rounds. So 18 and 19, single crochet around. I'll see you back here in a moment. Round number 20 is going to be the last decrease for quite some time. And so it's going to be 6 by itself. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 2 together. So just do that little technique I showed you, because I bet you can't see it when you did it before, right? It's invisible. So then 6 by itself and then 2 together. Repeat that around for round number 20. Rounds number 21 to 32 is just 1 single crochet in each all the way around. And what's going to happen with this particular one is that it is going to grow down the body of the hat. It's going to narrow in, which automatically on its own. And so that's a total of 12 rounds, just in case you want to keep account of that and just check it off each round as you go. Next time I see you, we're going to be at the top of the brim, and we're going to be starting that process next. So please do these 12 rounds of 1 single crochet in each. We're going to begin round number 33. And we're going to start the brim. You're going to notice that there's no back loop or front loop on this thing. It's just going to naturally roll onto itself. So what we have is that the first 6 are going to be a single crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 2 into the next one. And you'll repeat that all the way around. So 6 by itself and 2 into the next. Please do this for round number 33. Round number 34, let it percolate and just put in 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. If you rush the growth process or the decreasing, it buckles things. So we're just gonna do a single crochet in every stitch around for this round. I'll see you on round number 35 in a moment. Round number 35, you are going to single crochet the first 7 in a row and then 2 into the next. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then 2 into the next. So 7 in a row, 2 into the next. Please do this all the way around for round number 35. Round number 36, 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around. I'll be right back. Round number 37, 8 in a row, and then 2 into the next. So 8 single crochet and then 2 into the next stitch. Please do this around. Round number 38 is 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I'll see you at the end of the round. Round number 39 is another increase round, so there's going to be 9 in a row and then 2 into the next, 9 in a row and 2 into the next. This is the last time that you'll be increasing the size of your hat. I'll be back at the end of the 39th round. And finally, your last round is just 1 single crochet in each stitch. I'll see you at the end of the round to show you how to finish this thing off, and I'll be right back in a moment. 1 single crochet in each for round 40. When you come all the way around, just slip stitch into the next one after the last one is completed. And we're going to just cut this yarn, and I want you to weave in both of these ends individually from each other. Okay, so turn it to the inside, so just roll your brim up. Be very careful because the top of the brim is actually going to be noticeable like the inside because it'll be flipped up. So maybe you want to actually do this side instead, now that I'm thinking out loud, which is scary on its own. So we're just going to take both of the ends individually, and because I know it's going to be rolled up now, I'm going to stay on this side, which is technically the good side of the work, and carefully just go across. Okay. 3 is a good number to do. So I don't want to see this hook on, or this needle on this side. So then you can take out your stitch marker as well and cut that and do the other one at the same time. So any loose ends that you will have had, which in my case, I never had any knots in my balls or anything. So I just had a solid strands for both of the balls that I used at the same time. So that's a good thing, right? So just weaving those in. And so now we have to create a headband to go on this thing. So I don't know if you've rolled it already. I have not rolled mine up, but I will in just a second. So now you're gonna just roll it naturally onto itself, and then you can try it on and style it as well. So do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so welcome to my messy dust. So I got it there. You pop down the top, and so the brim has been rolled up, so that was the right decision to do this. And now I'm going to need a band that will go around there. So let's go back and let's do that. Let's make the headband, and I'm going to be just using 1 strand now for the headband, using the 5.5mm size I crochet hook. It's the larger hook. You're going to chain 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Do second chain from the hook. Okay, so 1 and 2, and I like to get the back hump of the chain. If you don't want to do that, then don't. It's amazing what people will disagree about, but do it the way you prefer. And do single crochet all the way across your chain, and I'll be right back in a moment. Once you're at the end of the chain, you're just going to simply turn your work and go back. So just chain up 1, starting in the very first one, and single crochet across. Okay, so if you chain 9 to start, there's only 8 single crochets in each of the rows. So what you're going to do is just go back and forth, just single crocheting until the band can actually measure and go around the top hat. So you stop as soon as it can go around. You may want to just stretch it just slightly, and we're going to leave a longer tail and then sew the band together so it's completely round, and we can slip it onto the hat, or you can put it around the hat and put it on. So you decide on how you want to do that approach. So let me work on this, and I'll be right back at the end of the length of this band. Let's show you an alternative version. So I just did the second row coming back. I'm just going to loop around and apply before I pull through the final color, and I'm going to apply this through. So I'm just going to let this piece hold, and therefore I'm going to make this to have stripes. So I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet myself across. So just ignore the holding yarns. Okay, so the very starting yarns, and we go across right to the end, turn, chain 1, single crochet in the first one. So 2 rows for each of the colors. So when I get back across here, I'm going to switch out my yarn. Okay, so I'm going into the last one. I don't want to finish the final 2. Let this drop, pull this yarn up, and finish it with that. So you're going to drag this along the edge, and then we can get rid of that later. I'll show you how. So then you just chain up 1 and then start this color. So you can do any colors that you would like to do, and therefore it might make the brim a little bit more interesting other than just being a flat color, if that's what you prefer. So it really doesn't take much time to do stripes like this. So I'm going to want to be very strategic though on how I'm going to finish, so that the colors are going to end up being the last color will be green, so that when it sews, it will look like it's in sync with the colors that go all the way around. So please do this all the way across until it's the length that you need, and I'll be right back in a moment. So now my band is complete. I've tried it around my item. It has a bit of stretch to it, which I want. And this is about 22 inches because I know some genius with the J is gonna ask me that. So it's 22 inches. And what I want to do is that I want to do a long tail with the last color that I had. And I'm going to use that to sew it to the very beginning. So I'm just gonna pull through. And I'll worry about the other loose ends, and we'll use a tapestry needle for those. So trim that other yarn leading to the ball as well. Okay, so let's do that. And I'm going to turn it to the inside so I can see that there's a difference. Do you see how there's texture on this side? There's not really this side. So this is the side that I would display. So I'm going to turn it so that the wrong sides are facing me, so that this is the inside of the band. And I'm going to use that green to sew the piece together. So just don't worry about the other strands. We're gonna sew those out of the way later. And I'm just gonna do a whip stitch on this. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through, just capture the edge on the one side, and then go to the next stitch, and then the next stitch. And when you go to sew this, don't be so tight that it's going to cause this the distance of the width to change. So don't be reefing down on it. So you're essentially just matching stitch to stitch on this side. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to slide it over top of the hat, and the top is obviously collapsible at this point as well. So if you plan on putting anything inside the hat to prevent the top from collapsing, then you might want to sew it onto your project or do what you need to do. So once you have that done, you're just going to weave it back through this stitch work on this end. And being very careful not to cause it to shrink. And the best way to do it is not just go between the plies, but actually separate the plies. So give it a good wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. Isn't there a song about that? Wiggle, wiggle. And then coming through. So any of the loose ends that we're going to have, which you'll have several because you had the green and the blue when you started, and then you still have the blue one left over, you're going to want to take your tapestry needle and just force it through the back side of here. So we still, because I had you change color like this, if you did this option, is that you're going to have the tails cross, or it's going to be carrying up on this side, and we're going to bury it through the next part of this instruction. Now, because this is green and this is where we are, so we want to look to where this was used. So it's used right here. So this is the inside of it. So don't you dare let that needle come through to the other side. So if I see that needle coming through the other side, I'm going to reach through the screen, and it'll be the last thing you remember. So just favor the back of it, but don't go so deep that you're on the front. Okay, and you'll do that with all of the loose ends you'll have. And when I come back, then we're going to do a trace of the exterior of this on both sides, so top and bottom, individually from each other. So weave in your ends. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm just having fun with color, so if you're thinking this doesn't go, that's fine. It's meant for a little party hat anyway. So I've sewn in my edge, and I'm going to start with the side that has these carrying over, and I'm looking at the right side, so if you're wearing it, this is the side that people will see. So this is the side that you're going to start on. Now when you go over the edge, you want to make sure that you're capturing in these lines as you go, and you don't have to count stitches, you just have to equally space. And the best way to do it is, see the equally spaced here, you kind of just want to match that around the edge. So that doesn't mean that the edge of every row will get a single crochet. You just look at the distance of how much it's going to cover and then just make a decision. So when you get to the one where it's about to carry, which is just one moment here, let's toss this around to the back. So when I go through, I want to capture that one that's carrying into the stitch itself, so that it's not just loosely dangling. And I'm just going to circle around, evenly spacing all the way around. So if it buckles or it's pulling in like this, if it's pulling in, it means you're moving too quickly, and if it's buckling or ruffling, it means that you're going too slow. So you just might have to just practice with it and just equally go around, and just kind of be consistent on where the stitches are going to go, so it makes the line look really awesome. And I will see you at the end of the round in a moment. So I'm going all the way around. I haven't said this, but this is not part of the pattern of going around on the edging like this. I'm just improvising a little bit because I am making this for a little party, and I want to just kind of push it a little bit further than the original, but I don't want to put the fishnet on there. I know, shocker. So I'm going to come all the way to the other side. Now we're going to end up with a lump on the end if you don't finish it off in a different kind of way. So just trimming the yarn. This is called an invisible join. Okay. And so instead of joining it with a slip stitch, you're just going to run that yarn underneath the regular stitch that you started with. And you're going to go back down through the last stitch you were in, favoring to the back of the project. And when you pull that, you want to make it look like it's a regular stitch. Okay, so therefore you don't end up with a lump. So now turning it to the back of the project, you're just going to weave it back and forth. So let me cheat the system. So I have a little llama that's from a shop here. It's fair trade. It's made from a foreign country, and it was actually part of a mobile, so I think it's pretty cool. And I actually had this as a lanyard for my one cruise. So I have these different little llamas that are here. I'm going to take some felted balls, and I'm going to hot glue them into position, probably randomly around, and I'm going to glue him first. Now I'm choosing the area where this is attaching because he can cover that. So if somebody's standing behind Daniel, is that you won't see any of that slip stitching because it's hidden behind the character itself, and it's just kind of a neat idea. So I'm going to hot glue him into position first, and then I'm going to start hot gluing the balls. I don't need to show you how to do that, but hot glue is kind of an easy way of doing it, and sewing is not for me. So I'll do that, and I'll be right back in a moment. So now I just hot glued my items to here. And hot glue actually holds on really well. I did 12-foot nutcrackers once, and I used a lot of hot glue to do things. I've seen people also online doing it. Because of my purpose, it's okay too. So I'm going to insert this around the top brim, and then I'm going to show you how to do the flowers that are in the pattern as well. So let's do the flower. It shows right here, there's row 1 and row 1. So there's a small flower here, it's just not bold, that you'll see. I just noticed that now. And so we'll do the large flower, and then you can do the small flower. And once you have that, you're gonna loosely roll each one of them around to create a spiral, and then you can sew a button to it. I don't have a button today, but I don't mind hot glue, but you can use the button to hold it, or you can just do what I'll show you on there just to hold it, and then you get a button that you can attach at a later time. So with your 5mm size H crochet hook, and just whatever color that you would like to use, you're going to chain a total of 25. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go all the way to 25, maybe back here in just a moment. So now that I have 25, I'm gonna put 3 double crochet, second chain from the hook. So 1 and 2, just get the back hump of the chain and put 3 double crochet in. And each one of the chains are going to have 3 double crochet in each, and this is going to cause a massive spiral to happen. So once the first one's in, just use the back hump of the chain, it's just nicer. And then you'll go to the next chain and you'll put in 3 double crochet, and you'll work your way all the way down the chain doing the same thing, and just let it naturally spin in your hands as you're playing with it, because it's going to need to do that anyway. So I will be back here at the end of the row in a moment. So 3 double crochet in each chain. I'm coming up to the end of there. Looks like a big curly fry because of the coloring, and I want to just create a long tail with that, and then I'm going to pull out here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to circle it back around itself, and so you just want to kind of open it up a little bit. Okay, just naturally let it just circle around. And you can get, like, you can actually go wider in the back side and just kind of make it more narrow as it comes forward, like that. Okay, so you got a flower like this, and then what you could do, pretend this was a felted ball. In my case, you could just put it down on the top like that, and you would have like a center piece. So you want to secure that into position. So with the longer tail, you're going to put that into a tapestry needle. You'll do the same with both of your flowers. They're done the same way. So come through the back side and right up to the front. Okay, and that will hold that all together. And then you could just kind of just re-eye it and then go back down through the middle, back down to the back. And just go up and down a few times. And that will secure that into position. And you can have a little bit of fun with this, just adding a button to the top. You can sew it down or whatever you need to do. My case, because I'm using felted balls, it actually kind of may actually be really cute. So if you are going to sew it to the project, maybe leave the back end tails. You can sew it down to your band or whatever you would like to do, but this would be how you would do it. So the other small flower, the only difference is that you're going to chain 17, and then you'll do your 3 double crochets all the way back through, and then you'll do the same thing. And because there's not as many stitches, it will not be as big as this, but it's kind of a neat concept, right? So with the felted ball glued in a position, it will just look like this. It could be any color that you would want, and overall, you just have to attach it to the band if this is something that attracts you. That's it for today. We hope that you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.